Today I'm behind the wheel of a brand new 2021 Toyota Highlander XSE. The XSE is the newest trim level for the Highlander for 2021. It's definitely the most aggressive and sport-tuned Highlander out there. Just take a look at the outside. A lot of changes on the outside, very aggressive. The front end is completely different, and this Highlander definitely stands out versus the other Highlanders. Also, the changes are not just skin deep. Toyota made a lot of changes to the suspension and steering to make this Highlander drive even better. So how are those changes? How does this Highlander XSE drive? Well, I'm going to find that out today. And also, I'm going to cover everything else there is to know about this brand new Highlander XSE so you can decide if this is the right SUV for you. Let's get started. Now, first, I want to give a big shout out to Continental Toyota for making this video possible. So if you're in the market for a brand new or used Toyota, then definitely check out Continental Toyota. Their information is on the screen and also in the description of this video. Let's start out with the outside to this XSE, since this is where most of the changes took place. The front end is almost completely different from all other Highlander trims out there. The LED projector headlights now come with black inserts, which matches the rest of the blackout theme. The front grille is a different shape, more of an octagon shape, and is filled with a black mesh. The lower bumper is also completely different. The opening is wider, the silver painted lip spoiler also pops out. It has a Lexus F Sport vibe. The LED fog lights have also been moved, and the slits on the side have been redesigned as well. Moving to the side, the Highlander XSE has a very nice stance. The roof rail is now blacked out, same goes with the window surrounds, and also the heated mirrors, they're black too. There's a very thin stripe of black cladding around the wheel fenders, however they match with the black theme. These 20-inch wheels that you see are specific to the XSE, and I think they look pretty good. The back of the XSE has also been upgraded. Starting with the top, you still have a shark fin antenna along with a big spoiler and a large privacy glass. The LED taillights have a black insert in them as well, and the lower bumper has some black cladding. However, there's a big silver lip spoiler that matches the front side. Also, there's a set of exhaust tips on the right. This is the only Highlander trim which comes with a set of exhaust tips out back. Now, the power liftgate is height adjustable but does not have the hands-free feature. Behind the third row, there's a decent amount of room for bags and groceries. Really nothing going on either side, but there is a little bit of hidden storage underneath the bottom cover. The third row seats fold down with the levers on the seat backs, and the headrests fall down automatically as the seat backs go down. With the second row and third row down, the seat backs are completely flat and you get a decent amount of cargo room. Now moving to the second row, this Highlander XSE is using soft-tech material rather than leather and comes with captain chair standard. Heated second row seats is not available, and it appears bench seating in the XSE is also not available. On Toyota's website, the XLE, the Limited, Platinum, which all come standard with captain chairs, can be configured with bench seating. That option is not available with the XSE for some reason. I'm 5 feet 10 and I have about 5 to 6 inches of legroom and about 3 to 4 inches of headroom. Seats do slide and recline. Passengers receive climate controls, 2 USB ports, cup holders, vents on top, and sunshades. To get into the back, you can try to squeeze in between the captain chairs, but the opening is rather small, and there are cup holders on the bottom that get in the way. So the other way is to simply slide the seats forward. The third row is too small for adults, unless you push the second row really forward. Passengers only get cup holders and a vent on each side. Moving up front, the XSE's cabin is modern and similar to the rest of the Highlander lineup. The steering wheel has good use of aluminum and black trim. It looks very modern and sleek. It also has the right thickness, and I can't tell if this is leather or soft-tex, but it does feel pretty good. Controls on the right are for the adaptive cruise control, some of the safety settings, music modes, and scrolling. And on the left side, the buttons control the phone, volume, voice command, and the info screen inside the gauge cluster. Now the gauge cluster has an analog speedometer and tachometer, but both are surrounded by a nice looking silver bezel. In the middle there's a large 7-inch info screen that you can scroll through and see things like music, settings, fuel economy, driving support systems, and much more. To the left of the steering wheel you have a couple buttons for the auto high beam function and a power lift gate. And on the door panel you have mirror and window controls. Unfortunately, memory seat functionality is not available. The infotainment screen is an 8-inch touchscreen and comes standard with 6 speakers. Now this infotainment screen has the same interface as all other Toyotas. There's physical buttons on each side for quick navigating. The interface is a bit dated, isn't the most responsive, but gets the job done. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are both standard. This one I'm driving does come with the only package available, and that is the premium audio package, which upgrades the speakers to 11 and includes navigation. Underneath the screen you have climate controls for the tri-zones, one on each side and one for the back. Heated seats are standard, but there's no heated steering wheel option. There are 2 knobs for temperature control, buttons for the defroster options, fan control, rear climate controls, and modes. Like all Highlanders, there are 2 little shelf areas for your things. Below there are 3 USB ports and a 12V outlet. You also get a standard shifter controlling the 8-speed automatic. There's also manual shifting on the side. Now the rear camera looks okay and there's only one view. Unfortunately, the 12.3-inch touchscreen display with the 360 view bird's eye view is not available on the XSE. There are also 3 different driving modes, Sport, Normal, and Eco, and 2 terrain modes, Mud and Sand, and Rock and Dirt. There are also some buttons for traction control, snow mode, hill descent, and a dedicated button for engine auto start-stop. Lastly, 2 buttons for parking and brake hold. Inside the sliding armrest, you do have a wireless charger and a 12V outlet. On top, you have HomeLink buttons and controls for the normal moonroof. Panoramic moonroof is not available in the XSE. The engine under the hood didn't change, but it's still a good one. A 3.5 liter V6 producing 295 horsepower and 263 pound-feet of torque. Fuel economy with all-wheel drive is 23 miles per gallon combined. Alright, I'm off. Let's see how good this brand new XSE Highlander is and how it drives. First off, I want to mention that I reviewed 2 2020 Highlanders. The first one is a V6 Limited, and the second one is a hybrid Platinum. So I'm pretty familiar with this current generation of the Highlander. And in both review videos, I've noticed a lot of people comment on the looks. A lot of people aren't fans of the looks on this new generation, and that's because 2019 and prior, the Highlander had more of a squared off butch look. And for this generation, it's very curvy and round and bubbly, and for some people, this is not their thing. But I think the XSE fixes that. Man, Toyota made significant changes on the outside, especially with the front end, which I think looks absolutely amazing. Everything about this Highlander XSE, in my opinion, looks way better than any other Highlander out there, all the other trim levels. I'm a really big fan of the look. Let me start out with steering, because it's one of the big things that Toyota said they tweaked. It's still lighter than I would like it to be. So it still has a very light and soft feel, which isn't bad. But you know, for me, I like more aggressive. I like a more weighted steering feel. The precision didn't get any better. That was one of my complaints about the Highlander, at least the 2 that I reviewed. So if you look, the steering play is still pretty bad, right? You know, this is a lot of wiggle, and I really don't feel it in the Highlander at all. So the precision didn't get any better. So whatever Toyota did in terms of tweaking, I don't really notice it from a steering perspective. Now, I'm in comfort mode, so all right, I just changed it to sport mode. I just want to see if it made a difference. Yeah, I'm toggling between sport and comfort. It makes zero difference on the steering. I feel the throttle changing, but in terms of steering, I don't feel it. Honestly, without driving, let's say limited, and this back to back to back, it's really hard to notice the change. Now, what didn't change for this Highlander is how good it drives. It's a very comfortable drive. Visibility is great. I can see well past the hood, very large windshield. Side windows are very big. Blind spot is pretty good too, but you get blind spot monitoring in here, so that's not an issue. Rear visibility is good, even with the headrest up, pretty good. And also seating position is good too. This is a mid-size SUV, so I'm sitting quite high. Now, I talked about these seats. I think these seats are also comfortable. Even though they're covered in Softex, not leather, I mean, they still feel pretty good. You just don't get that leather smell, and supposedly Softex is more durable, so that's also good. But I think it's well cushioned, it's holding me in. The bolstering isn't too aggressive, but I don't feel like I'm sliding around, so it's designed well. The bottom cushion also not very aggressive, so I feel pretty comfortable, yet in a sporty way, kind of. So the seats are good. Second row is also good. Now the third row is not good at all because it's way too tight and narrow for adults. But front seats and second row, very good. Now, as for the suspension, they still feel very comfortable. I'm around town, driving around, and there's a lot of, imperfections and dips and potholes, and it feels great. It feels great. It doesn't really feel too aggressive. I'm not feeling more bumps or anything like that. And that's also good because, remember, the wheels are 20-inch. So the sidewall to the tires are a little bit narrower. And normally with bigger wheels and Sport 2 suspension, you combine the two and you're going to get a harsher ride or a bumpier ride. And I don't get that. So the suspension is good. Now, do I feel it's more sporty? Off the top of my head, no. Again, just like steering, it's kind of one of those things. It's really hard to notice unless you're driving, say, a Highlander Limited and then this XSE back to back. Right now, I just feel like it's a great suspension setup. Now, what about cabin noise? Well, I'm up to speed already, 55 miles per hour. It's well insulated in here. I don't hear any wind noise. Cars passing by, I do a little bit. Surprisingly, no road noise. And engine is very muted, and same thing with exhaust. So, pretty well insulated in here, pretty quiet. As for size, the Highlander, even though it's slightly bigger than last generation, it's definitely smaller compared to the huge three-row behemoths like the Palisade, Telluride, even the Pilot. Those are significantly bigger, and you could tell when you get in. There's just a lot more width to them, and they're longer, and the third row is bigger. And that could be a good or bad thing, depending on what your situation is. Because if you don't enjoy driving a real huge SUV because you don't like the way it drives or how it's difficult to get in and out of tight spots, or if it doesn't fit your garage, right, then the Highlander is a really good compromise because you do get 3 rows for emergencies or for kids, so you get a little bit extra cargo room. It's not nearly as wide. It's a little bit more nimble, right? So you have that going for the Highlander. But if you're looking for something with maximum amount of cargo room and passenger room, then you're not going to get it with this Highlander. So it really depends on what you're looking for. This 8-speed on this Highlander is really nice. As I've been driving, it's doing its thing. The shifts are unnoticeable. It downshifts when it needs to. When I'm cruising, it just feels good. I don't feel underpowered in any way, which a lot of these modern transmissions, they tend to bog down the car. Not so much in this Highlander, so I like this 8-speed. The brakes feel good. Good linear feel. The pedal feels good. Doesn't feel mushy or stiff. So the brakes, pretty good. In a little bit, I'm going to test out acceleration. I already mentioned about the transmission being good. Around town, the engine feels good. Let's see how it is going from 20 to 60. So that was going from 20 to 60 miles per hour, and the engine got pretty loud under full acceleration. But overall, this Highlander performed as expected. It's not the quickest SUV, it's not the slowest SUV, it's kind of like right in the middle. And I think for most people, this is more than adequate. This 2021 Highlander gets upgraded to Toyota Safety Sense 2.5 Plus, which builds upon the previous 2.0. You get a pre-collision system with pedestrian and cyclist detection, full speed dynamic radar cruise control, lane departure warning with lane keeping assistance, lane centering assistance, auto high beam, and road sign assistance. In addition, this XSE gets blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic alert. Alright, now I'm on a patch of freeway that's very, very bad. A lot of dips and imperfections and bumps. Let's see how this sport tuned suspension is. Still very good. I mean, it's definitely more bumpy because of how the road is, but overall not too bad. Yeah, it's good. It's good. I'm reflecting on a cabin, and this still is a good-looking and functional cabin, like all Highlanders. You got a big infotainment screen, climate control, easy to reach. You got a nice gauge cluster, right? Center console area, pretty well designed. You got a couple shelves also. So that hasn't changed. Unfortunately, with the XSE, you know, things were cheapened a bit. There's a lot of places like on the armrest, right, center console, they've been replaced with cheap plastic. And same with the dash, because there's no leather in here, there's a lot of places on the dash that just doesn't feel as good. So unfortunately, this XSE was cheapened a little bit because Toyota wanted to fit a certain price range for this XSE and because of the changes they made. So that's the trade-off. Next, let me talk about pricing and give you my final thoughts on this brand new Highlander XSE. As for pricing, the XSE is slotted in between the XLE and the Limited and starts above $41,000. You could choose front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. All-wheel drive costs $1,525 more, which brings up the price to over $43,000. There is only one package available, and that is premium audio with JBL. That is around $1,700 and brings the grand total up to $45,000 before destination charge. To conclude, the 2021 Toyota Highlander XSE is a stunning looking SUV that really stands out from the rest of the Highlander lineup. Besides the looks, the steering and suspension has been retuned to give drivers more control and a better feel. The XSE also provides comfortable seats, great visibility, good amount of standard features, a strong V6 engine and transmission combo, and the latest safety features. However, it's not all great. Bench seating is not available with the XSE, and neither are the high-end options such as panoramic sunroof, hands-free tailgate, heads-up display, the larger infotainment screen with bird's eye view, and options like memory seats, ventilated seats, and real leather are also not available. Overall, I'm giving the brand new 2021 Toyota Highlander XSE a score of 100. To see where it ranks among others in this class, check out driversonlyrankings.com. By the way, if you want an inside look at how I shoot and record cars, check out my vlog channel. I had a preview video on this Highlander XSE a few days before I released this video, and within I gave a more personal viewpoint. I plan on making more videos in the future that are similar, and also videos about other things going on that might interest you. So if you are interested, click at the link at the end of this video or use the link pinned to the first comment of this video. Thanks for watching, hit the like and subscribe to the channel for more reviews, news, and first looks.